Hello, I'm Randy Swart, past president of the Barcroft School and Civic League and now the webmaster for the Civic Association. I grew up visiting grandparents over at 4th and Wakefield and came back here to live in the early 1970s. Some of the people who lived in the neighborhood when I was a child still live here now. Barcroft neighborhood is bordered on the north by Arlington Boulevard, on the east by South George Mason Drive, on the south by Columbia Pike, and on the west by 4 Mile Run. This Barcroft Walkabout has 9 stops covering streetscapes and parkland. It is slightly more than 1.5 miles over mostly easy terrain. Barcroft is one of Arlington's older neighborhoods dating back to the late 1800s. Our Civic Association has been in continuous operation since at least 1907. The neighborhood owes its name to Dr. John Wolverton Barcroft, who built and operated Barcroft Mill after the Civil War. It reputedly had the largest mill wheel on the East Coast. A community of about 800 homes grew up near the Barcroft Mill and train station on the railroad line now converted to the W&OD Trail. The neighborhood's first retail establishment was a country store built about 1885 on Columbia Pike at 4 Mile Run. Since 1908, the Barcroft Community House has been the center of neighborhood life, while the W&OD Trail and 4 Mile Run provide a park-like setting that is one of the neighborhood's prime attractions. Throughout its history as a neighborhood, Barcroft has been a quiet residential area whose residents prize its tranquility, ease of access to D.C., and neighborliness. In fact, the Washington Post recently pointed out Barcroft's resemblance to a photo album snapshot of an idyllic neighborhood from earlier times. Our walking tour of Barcroft neighborhood begins here at 800 South Buchanan Street, the Barcroft Community House. This neighborhood landmark was built in 1908, originally as a church. It quickly became a school and has been used for other purposes over the years. It is Arlington's last remaining example of a building once used as a one-room schoolhouse. A second room was added in the rear in 1913. And there have been interior renovations since, but the exterior remains as it was. Over the years, this building has hosted many different types of meetings and organizations and seen a lot of spirited debates. A wheelchair access ramp was added in 2002. Now we'll head down Buchanan to number 902, the Marie House. This is the Marie House. It was built in 1892 by Annie Doremus. She married Sidney Marie, the editor of the 1903 Barcroft News. This tiny but well-written neighborhood newsletter was published for a time in 1903 and mentions the Marie's baby daughter Adeline, who was born in this house and lived here until the 1990s. The current editor of the Barcroft News produces it in the same house. Their family has also named one of their daughters Adeline. It's so nice to have this house in the hands of people with a commitment to civic service and a strong sense of history. Now we'll head down 9th Street to 4 Mile Run to Sparrow Pond. This beautiful wetland is called Sparrow Pond, and it's not actually as old as it might appear. Arlington County naturalist Greg Zell used a best practices design when he put it together in 2002 to protect the W&OD Trail.
The design team that put the plans together had 3 main criteria for designing this wetland. One, it had to increase stormwater capacity, which means that it has to, like a bathtub, it has to hold stormwater for a period of time before releasing it into 4 Mile Run. The second criteria was clean water. It had to improve the water quality of 4 Mile Run. We designed it as a 3-pond system so that as the water flows through the wetland prior to being released into 4 Mile Run, the heaviest sediments and silt, stones and other debris that are carried down the stream valley through stormwater are heavy and they filter out and collect here. And the third criteria, which is just as important, we want to design it to be an effective magnet for wildlife. And that has certainly occurred. We put in a certain number of plants and we designed the sizes of the ponds to accommodate certain wildlife.
Let's head back to the neighborhood and up 7th Street South to the Women's Club of Arlington. This is the Women's Club of Arlington clubhouse. It was built here just a block from our community house in 1957. The club itself was founded in 1931 as a community service organization. In the early years, the club advocated for the establishment of the Columbia Pike Branch Library, hosted art exhibits, speaker forums, and a glee club. Today, the Women's Club continues its community service projects and cultural activities. Right after South Buchanan becomes Pershing Drive, we'll find stop number 5. This lot was once a Virginia Power substation. It could be a county park if soil problems can be resolved. Stop 6 is less of a stop than a chance to see some of the newer features of the neighborhood. This speed hump, for example, is part of the traffic calming measures that have made Barcroft a more walkable place by reducing car speeds and making it safer to walk and bicycle in the neighborhood. As a side benefit, it has also reduced our cut-throughs by 33%. Land values in Arlington have increased rapidly since the 1980s, and Barcroft's large lots and modest older homes have made it attractive to higher density development. As evidenced by this block, many houses have been renovated and enlarged in recent years. Barcroft residents are committed to maintaining the character of the neighborhood despite recent trends. This is Arlington Hall West Park. It's on land that was loaned to Arlington County by the U.S. State Department in a Memorandum of Understanding. The State Department runs the National Foreign Affairs Training Center on the other side of George Mason Drive. The land was part of the Arlington Hall Women's College, which was taken over by the Army during World War II. The park was upgraded with neighborhood conservation funds in the 1990s. There are plans to complete the trail from here to Thomas Jefferson Community Center. Now we'll head down toward South Taylor Street to stop 8, the Corbett-Fox-Wright house. Built in the late 1890s, the Corbett-Fox-Wright house was probably home to early Barcroft developers. Barcroft had been originally subdivided in 1892 as Corbett. It did not grow much until it was sold in 1903 to Abby Fox, who re-subdivided it as Barcroft. We'll make a right on 6th Street and then we're on our way to Barcroft School. Barcroft School was originally in the community house. This building was built in 1925 and has been expanded twice since, retaining the unique design features of the facade. A unique and diverse neighborhood school, Barcroft Elementary is a year-round school with periodic breaks but no summers off. Miriam Huey Guy, its long-term principal, is held in high esteem by Barcroft parents and by the whole neighborhood.
Instead of the children being out of school for 10 weeks during the summer, they're only out for 5 weeks. We start school in August and we break again after the end of each grading period.
A stroll down Wakefield Street and a right turn on 8th Street and we'll be back to the community house. Thank you for taking this video walkabout of Barcroft. Come on out on a nice day and take the walk. The people are friendly and the neighborhood is interesting.